Hello, welcome to episode 207.
With our new intro, thank you, Boom.
How do you like our new intro? Very proud of Boom with everything that he had to do, with everything going on with C&D this week. He even squeezed in making us a new intro. Tell us how you like it in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to Live and Unpredictable, the Hotbox Show, coming to you from the Jazz Farm in Johannesburg, South Africa. Around the table tonight, we've got a girls-only team. Isn't that lovely? We've got Amy, who's also had a busy week.
Hello.
Joe, who's been producing the show, putting everything together for us. It's been a real scramble.
It's been a humdinger, hey?
It's been a humdinger.
To use an old style word.
For sure. But we're very glad that you can join us tonight as we give you an update on everything that's been going on the international front. Here in South Africa, we've been very much connected to the rest of the world this week as far as cannabis and cannabis policy is concerned. So we're going to be sharing that with you today. Dan is still down in the Eastern Cape. He should be coming back soon and joining us for the Cape Town Expo. So hello, Dan, if you're watching. Dale's brother is coming back from his trimming job in up in Northern California. Remember, we had Dale's brother on the show a couple of months back telling us what it was like to actually go and trim in California, and I know that he has some really hair-raising stories to tell, so I think we'll get him on the show.
We'll get him back on the show.
He really likes to talk. So Dale had to go to the airport tonight to go and fetch his brother, so maybe they're home already and they're watching the show. So hello,
last I heard
Dale.
they were still waiting for him to come through customs and all the things.
Okay.
They're in for a long night.
We also have some friends visiting from America who have been sailing around the world for the last 8 years, so we've been hearing some great stories of their adventures and various things that they got up to. They are also avid weed enthusiasts like us, and they're all like my age, so they really have quite some interesting stories to tell. But everything around the show tonight is going to be centered around the Commission on Narcotic Drugs that started this Monday. Because we believe that it's really, really important news for everybody. We had on one of our groups this morning, somebody commented and put a post up about some sort of developments with American laws and something. There was some big news that came out of America. I can't remember what it was. And he said, well, wouldn't it be nice if we were making some progress in South Africa? But I think we are. We really, like we said last week, after that last government meeting on that Tuesday before last, I think that we are really getting somewhere. And my conversation on the phone with the South African delegation in Vienna was also incredibly constructive. So let's just put it out there that we are getting somewhere, and that Fields of Green for All is the only NGO, cannabis-centered NGO, that is doing this work on an international level. And you know, you have to poke the beast everywhere. You've got to eat this elephant one bite at a time.
We take a step forward, and then there's a half step back.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 steps forward, and then there's another 1.5 back.
So our question to you on the poll tonight, and remember you can vote for us on Facebook. While you're at Facebook, go in there and see our live transmission from Wednesday and just bookmark it to watch it. Maybe open it up in a new tab, and after the show you can actually watch our 50-minute presentation that we did on Wednesday. But our poll to you on Facebook is, have you watched our C&D 65 United Nations side event yet? Yes, I watched it live. I think we had close on 100 people watching it live. It was quite difficult because it was 8 o'clock in the morning Vienna time, so 9 o'clock here, but 3 o'clock in the morning for our co-hosts who are on the eastern seaboard of America in Virginia. So the online time thing is quite difficult, so I think that we did quite well to get 100 people.
I think by the end of the day we were reaching 500 just on the one Facebook.
Oh yes, on the Facebook there, I think a lot of people have watched it. So have you watched it live? Yes, we were all here, and
It's definitely well worth the watch as well, so please.
So that's number one. Number 2, it's on my list to watch as soon as I can. Number 3, no, I'm not interested in the inner workings of policy making.
And that's fine, because we're here to do that for you so that you don't have to. Everybody sticks to their strengths, right?
So, yeah, I think that it's really interesting how everything's played out, and there've been some really funny moments. There's been moments of high drama, but we'll tell you all about it as we go along. But I think first of all, to take the dryness out of the drug policy, what are we looking
What
at
are we
on the
reeking
dank
tonight,
cab?
Amy?
We have been gifted some Poo-Tang pre-rolls.
So I have a Poo-Tang pre-roll here, and I'm going to spark it up right now.
And some beautiful Jack Hera.
Ooh, that does look lovely.
The outdoor.
Jungle,
Oh.
not Jack area.
Jungle hog.
Jungle
Jungle
Hog. Oh,
Hog.
it said JH, I assume Jack Hera.
Jungle hog.
So we do our usual focus thing, closer, I think. Yeah. Jungle Hog. So, Boom, tell us about Jungle Hog.
It's a
Nice and solid.
But it's basically Jungle Boys that we put onto a altberry from someone else, and that's just one of the Fidos. Very dank.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was it grown in the same garden as this Poo-Tang?
Yes.
Okay, so it comes from the very same soil. And I think that these little Poo-Tang pre-rolls are quite nice.
I love how it comes
Bevitas.
with a little Bevita, yes.
Yeah.
So you're going to be keeping your flavor profiles intact. It's not-
Yeah.
And I mean, ooh, smells pretty good.
Does it smell good?
And I must say, it's not, sometimes you get pre-rolls and they've been lying around for ages and they kind of dry and a bit, give you the driffies. Now tell us in the comments, do you like buying pre-rolls or do you prefer rolling your own so that it's like a freshly rolled thing? No?
I don't mind a pre-roll if I know the Dacha farmer.
Yeah, that's important for me as well.
Exactly. Because some of the pre-rolls that we've seen that are being sold around South Africa, you open them up and they're just sticks and pips and things, and they go popping all over
Those
the
are
place.
those CBD cigarette things as
Yeah.
well. When we opened one of those, it was like, would have been a little firework if you lit it.
Oh, wasn't that South Africa's first legal weed?
Yeah, supposed to be. Don't
Yes.
worry, it's gonna get all the old people smoking, guys. Don't
Yeah.
I think they were just trying to share
South Africa.
seed. Like,
Yeah. It's
Well,
not the
I
best
must
thing.
admit to being quite lazy. And the producer of these pre-rolls has given us quite a few samples along the way. And I'm really chuffed if I sink down into the couch in the evening.
Yeah.
Hey? And you've got a pre-roll there ready.
I
Score.
know, I like a
Big
nice
score.
fresh one.
You like a fresh
Yeah,
one?
I enjoy rolling as well though. I enjoy the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I'm in a hurry, I'll normally go for a bong.
Indeed.
Now that all of my children are above the age of 18 and quite legal, I've trained them how to roll, and so I just go,
Yeah.
please. I do say please because we do learn manners in our house. But it is nice to keep
nice.
them on their toes and rolling for us.
I must say, I do kind of pull rank sometimes because I'm quite generally the oldest around here, and then sometimes I like to the youngsters, I'm like, oh, can you roll me a one, you know? So I'm a bit lazy to roll, and I'm quite enjoying. What's it like?
I'm
Flavour?
loving
Very
it.
nice.
Nice.
It's got a lovely flavour, yeah.
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 And then maybe Emmy, you can roll us some of that jungle hug
Sure.
for after we've given you a
Yeah,
bit of an update on what's going on the fields of green for all front.
Yeah.
It's certainly all started on Monday, and oh yay, we've got an audience! Yay! Come in. We assured our
There's some
audience.
seats over there.
We assured our audience that we that we wouldn't put them on camera. And there they were briefly
That's
on
okay.
camera.
It was just
It
the
was
back of your
blurry.
heads. It was fine.
And your cap.
The audience, you see.
It certainly does make for a nice atmosphere in the studio if we've got an audience.
People to share the smoke with and to
Yeah,
share the conversation
exactly.
with. Yeah.
And people are quite used to seeing our dogs popping in and out. Generally,
Animals are always part.
they're around in the studio, all all part of the family. So where do we start with this? On Monday morning at 9 o'clock, we had our first session at the Commission on Narcotic Drugs, beamed out of Vienna, but mostly beamed all around the world. I heard somebody say today that there were 56 side events over this week. We haven't finished yet. The deliberations go on until about 10:30 every night. Tomorrow's the last day. I think that they probably finish in the afternoon. They won't go into the night tomorrow. So it really is an incredibly intense week. As you know, Jules and I used to go for 4 years in a row. We went to Vienna, and it was we certainly learned a hell of a lot along the way. And it's really nice now for us to meet in a Zoom room with all of our activist friends. So there's about 30 people on the list.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and they all come in and out the Zoom room. Somebody, it's 3 a.m. and they're going to go and sleep for a bit, or whatever. But that Zoom room runs 24 hours a day. And then what we do is we have all of us on the Zoom screen, and then on the left they will share their screen to show whatever's going on at C&D in the building, and then we can have our commentary. And we can sort of butt in and all kind of watch it together. So I think it's really nice the way that has worked out.
Yeah, it is. It's really good.
And now in the Fields of Green office, so since Monday, everybody's had to listen to this droning on, and we haven't had any music going in the office.
It's fun. I have music in my head all the time. I've got this Ellie McBeal vibe going on in here all the time.
Oh. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's been
Joe, you're showing your age. Do people even know who Ellie McBeal is?
I wish Netflix, please put Ellie McBeal on. I want to watch it again.
Seinfeld's on now, so hopefully it'll be there soon.
Okay.
They irritated me. Yes, I'm showing my age. I'm proudly in my 40s, happily in my 40s. Quite frankly.
Well, I must say that one of the things that was brought up in C&D last year that was actually an issue that was rectified this year was the inclusion of the youth. Because when you look around that room, which is a very sparse room now with COVID, it's kind of all old white men. Remember how Jules always used to say, drug policy, the world is run by old white men,
100%.
So actually tomorrow there's a big youth committee meeting, and there's going to be a lot of youth joining in from around the world. So I think that was a very positive thing that happened this
Well, that's
week.
fantastic, because I read with absolute horrification, and it's not a story we're covering tonight, but with absolute horror about a second year young female in London who was strip searched with no teachers present. Including that it was that time of the ladies, and they made her remove all of her sanitary products so that they could go.
Shocking.
So
But
yes, I'm glad that the
strip
youth
search.
are coming in to stand up for themselves.
There's a very powerful lobby called the Students for Sensible Drug Policy, and they are generally all under the age of 35. And they've got branches all over the world, and they are spearheading this whole committee tomorrow. So hopefully next year there will be much more youth representation and much more representation across the board. So on Monday morning we started with the South African government, and they had at 9 o'clock, where it started 8 a.m. Vienna time, they had their side event. It was moderated by the South African Permanent Mission in Vienna, and then they had a speaker from SAPRA, and now you're going to have to remind me, and a speaker from
SAPRA, and then that company.
Oh yes, and
civil
so
society.
Yes, they had on the flyer, and I think Boom, we've got the flyer there, haven't we? I popped it on the group. On the flyer, it said that they were going to have a civil society representative on there. So I'd spoken to the office about 10 days ago, and I was wondering who's going to be the civil society representative, and it was Cannabis Research International. Yeah,
that's it.
And that's Afriplex, who are a big cannabis company, a multi-million rand cannabis company based, I think, down in the Western Cape. So that certainly wasn't civil society, but anyway, you know what
that
we'll
was
do.
colonial cannabis, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I don't think that the South African Permanent Mission really know what civil society is, but we will suck it up because we have made we have on very good relations, and civil society was very prominent this year at C&D. They certainly showed loads of people's videos and whatnot. So the South African side event was, what do you think?
Much of them, I felt like it was a little bit more of a marketing, more
marketing
marketing or a pitch than anything else.
Yeah.
And they seemed very positive, which was a little bit maybe, I don't know, it was fantastic to hear, but it's sort of different to what
we're used to the prohibition sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great
So
thing.
I think what's happened is South Africa, as you know, word travels widely, and I think that the ambassador has been paying attention, and obviously with the bill before Parliament and the master plan and all of that, the news is getting around, and the South African government felt the need to explain to the international community how South Africa is complying with the international treaties. Because you must have heard them say before, you know, South Africa has to comply with the international treaties. So that's actually what they did. And then the SAPRA representative, sorry, her name escapes me right now, she droned on and read all of her slides.
Yeah,
and I think we'll send... And I think what we'll do is we'll send her to our public speaking coach. Our public speaking coach, Ilana, from the Voice Clinic is really amazing. So we're going to send her business card to the lady from SAPRA.
Yep.
Yes.
It was exceedingly boring, 50 minutes, and it wasn't anything that we don't know in South Africa, but I think it was positive that South Africa felt the need to hold the event, to tell the world what's going on. There was nothing that they put in there that wasn't true, you know? It was all true, and it was all on point, and it was all according to the rules and regulations and everything, but it wasn't very exciting.
Yeah, it was quite boring.
It was quite
Reading
boring.
off of a PowerPoint presentation always is a bit boring, though.
But they didn't even, maybe
But I
we should
think
send
that-
Boehm as well, because their presentation was literally just text.
Was
It
no
was-
presentation.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was
It
just
was a
pure
Zoom
text.
meeting, so it's tough to call it an event.
Yeah.
I think having it by Zoom has made it a lot more accessible to everyone as well
I think
this
it
year,
has.
which is
It
lovely.
has.
Mm.
Well, we sent the invitation out far and wide, and it doesn't matter if you didn't watch the event live. You can go and watch it on YouTube. And so I haven't checked, but I think 600 odd on Facebook. And on Facebook, I think we must pin it to the top of the Facebook page.
Yeah, we must change them.
But if you go to the Fields of Green for All's YouTube channel, you'll see there that we've only got 768 followers. So it would be really nice if you could also like and share and subscribe and all of that there. It really does help us, because you can remember that the Dacha Couple YouTube channel, we had to close it down because it was getting too many strikes. So it's still there. It's got all the Dacha Couple stuff is on there, and the archive of the Hotbox show. But with the Fields of Green channel, we need to really start boosting those numbers. I think that it will help. So there's going to be there's obviously the side event is there, and we're going to be posting all of the other relevant videos during the next few days on the YouTube channel. So if you want to have a weekend full of some drug policy.
Well, this is how I found
yeah.
you guys. I sat one day, bored out of my bracket, I didn't have anything to do, and I found the Dacha Couple channel, and I watched every single thing that you and Jules had produced. And then I typed up a long letter saying, I can't believe people are sending you hate mail, so let me send you some love mail.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, wow, Joe. It's so you.
Long, you know me, I write, my voice notes are podcasts, and my quick notes are books.
So then on Tuesday morning, bright and early, thank you Captain Stream for coming through. Neelio was here early in the morning with Boom. We got everything set up because our side event, as all the technicalities, was our problem. and we beamed it out on Facebook and YouTube, and I think it went very smoothly. I don't think we've got time now to go through everything, but just to whet your appetite, we had Professor David Nutt speaking of how the whole scheduling system and the United Nations is just wrong and it's not scientific. And then we had Greek Zweni, who is the traditional doctor from Ponderland, who you will know has been shared a platform with us many times. He sent us such a heartfelt video, and Joe, the night before the event, sat and transcribed it. And Boom put all the subtitles in late on Monday night so that everybody internationally could understand what Greek was saying. And Greek had only sent us his video the afternoon before because he hadn't had any signal for 2 days. So it was a bit down to the wire. And then we had an interesting thing we had Mac Haddow from the American Kratom Association. Yeah. Now, I don't think many people in South Africa know much about kratom, but it is a medicinal plant originally from Thailand, and it is used a lot in America to get people off of opioids. It's an analgesic of sorts. So maybe you want to go and look up in Wikipedia and Arrowwood about the kratom plant, and maybe you want to watch our side event. I found it very interesting what he had to say about kratom, and how they narrowly missed having kratom put into the schedules and made one of the forbidden plants. And then we had a very interesting a presentation about coca.
Yeah.
Yes.
What did you learn from that, Ames?
Oh gosh, all sorts. But it was really, really beautiful and fascinating, and I loved how they put in all the actual images and that you could see and the processing and
So
can't remember anything off the top of my head. A little bit lost. But no, like for me, it was more the visual.
Yes.
It was really incredible. It's things that I haven't personally gone and researched or looked at myself.
Yeah.
So Brenda, I thought Brenda was absolutely brilliant, and they put together such a beautiful montage video of pictures of coca leaves and people using coca traditionally, and landscapes of where coca is produced, and such a heartfelt video that she sent out of Humboldt County. She works mainly with the immigrant population. She is from Mexico herself, and she works on both marijuana, as they call it. You know, we don't use that word, it's not our word, but Brenda has worked on marijuana and coca policy, and she is the host of 2 multilingual radio stations out there in Humboldt County, because as we know, radio is a really good medium that greets lots of people. So that was Brenda, and that was our speakers for our side event, so please do go and watch it. And then on Wednesday, as we told you in the show last week, we sent in a short 3-minute video into the main plenary session at the Commission on Narcotic Drugs. Boom, have you got the video?
Yeah.
So we thought we would just play it for you. And this was played to all of the member states, and obviously everybody who was online. And the dogs are having a little roll under the table.
You can see the owl picture.
Oh, there's a picture on the shelf that he's scared of.
Yeah.
Oh, good boy.
South Africa and the complexities of cannabis law reform in countries with long-standing traditions of use, cultivation and trade in this plant. After centuries of cannabis being used across Africa, South Africa had the dubious distinction of becoming the first country to prohibit cannabis. The British settlers of the 19th century disliked their Indian slaves using their cannabis sacrament. In an 1885 report, colonial observers found, "It renders the Indian immigrant unfit and unable to perform that work for which he was specially brought to this colony." We have often referred to our ensuing 1992 Drugs Act, still firmly in place, as the last apartheid law. At Fields of Green for All, we see both this act and our proposed Cannabis for Private Purposes Bill as a cut-and-paste progression encompassing 150 years of laws and punishments with roots in colonial racism and moral judgment, not scientific evidence. The South African Constitutional Court handed down judgment in 2018, granting citizens the right to cultivate cannabis in private spaces for personal use. This judgment is unique among developing countries, but has done nothing for our traditional farmers in rural areas, who are the backbone of our illicit cannabis economy. Outside of the confines of the medicinal cannabis sector and the long-awaited regularization of the industrial hemp sector, we will have to fight for the right to continue to trade in cannabis as we have done for centuries. South African policies on cannabis are framed by the International Drug Control Conventions. The time for using the conventions against us is over. Many provisions of the Drug Control Conventions conflict with human rights obligations. Arrests, incarceration, and victimization because of cannabis cultivation, use, and trade under laws that are not based on evidence are cases in point. In 2007, the United Nations adopted the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, reinforced in 2018 by the Declaration on the Rights of Peasants and Other People Working in Rural Areas. South Africa is well placed to be one of the pioneering traditional cannabis-producing countries in the world, and our government is beginning to listen to civil society, as we are the gatekeepers of the true evidence. All of the evidence must be taken into account, from the historical to the scientific. Because the South African context requires it, our cannabis regulations may end up being the most liberal and the most human rights centered in the world. Other jurisdictions would do well to follow suit. Thank you.
There you are.
So there you have it. So that was our little presentation, because we sort of made a theme of traditional cannabis, and we brought that up over and over again to make a point. And I think that we made the point quite clearly, because then today, just this morning, it seems like days ago. So
this week has been a year.
We told you last week that we had put in some questions. So we put in a question to the chair of the Commission on Narcotic Drugs. Okay, so this is the guy that oversees this whole conference. So we had the opportunity to put in questions to all the bigwigs that were there, the WHO, the International Narcotics Control Board. So we sent in these 3 questions, and today they were playing the session where all of these questions were being answered. So I thought, well, I'll go into that room, and I was just sitting there with the camera off and it all muted, and wondering whether our question would come up. And then a funny thing happened. I had my cup of coffee here, okay? And it's not a bad story, okay? So I had my cup of coffee here, and I'm listening to this droning on here with the questions, and the next thing I hear, Fields of Green for All, and I see that Myrtle Clark is in the room. Myrtle, would you like to pose your question?
Oh my God.
And I was totally not expecting to do it live. And as this was happening, I spilled my coffee in my lap.
Oh.
So Amy was here with a dishcloth, mopping up the coffee on my lap, and I was going, oh yes, Chair, I'm here. And I just opened the questions that I've got here on my computer. So thank goodness I could just click to the tab and have the question in front of me and read the question.
Yes.
I grabbed my camera, so I've got a very shaky video.
It was all very
from start
sudden.
to end,
Yeah.
just after the coffee.
So our question, and I always say our question, because this is really South African civil society's question to these international bigwigs. Fields of Green for All is speaking on behalf of every single one of you here in South Africa who has an interest in the cannabis plant in any way, whether you're a patient or whether you're a trader, cultivator, all of the above. These questions are for you, So they're a bit in highfalutin language. But what I asked the chair of the CND, how does the CND intend to reconcile the WHO's stated fact that cannabis does not belong in Schedule 1? And so it goes, I'm not going to read the whole question because it's very sort of formal. So basically the WHO said to CND that cannabis shouldn't be in Schedule 1, which is the lower schedules. Cannabis should not actually be in the schedules. So now it's still in the schedules, although it went from 4 to 1. Okay, so it went down, which recognized cannabis as medicine. So on an international level, they can't do anything about traditional cannabis use for the last 700 years. So our point is that it's not morally right that you're still only allowing the medical and scientific use of, and the countries only report on the medical and scientific uses of cannabis. And this is a really very, very small wedge in the pie, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why we're hammering on this whole traditional use thing. And for the rural people all over our country, not only in the Eastern Cape, all over our country, this is very, very important because there's all sorts of other United Nations agencies that deal with traditional affairs. And they brought out a whole big commission on the rights of the peasant. They even called it the peasant, you know. So this is why it's really important for us to keep on bringing up the traditional cannabis cultivators and traders, is because they're being left behind because it's still being called a drug here, and then their rights are being looked after there, and then they're not being looked after there. They're being persecuted and sprayed with glyphosate and everything. You know, it's just not sorted out. It's a mess. So that's what we asked. How does the CND intend to move forward in implementing the necessary changes to the convention? So basically what we said to them, the whole thing's wrong. You've got to go and change the whole big convention. So I read my question, and then the chair, who's a very affable, nice man, I think I have sort of greeted him in a passage before, he started after us, he said, thank you very much. And also, good to see you again. You were linked to us yesterday as well. So that was, we've made an impact, okay?
Yeah.
So yesterday our
Oh,
video was
goosebumps.
shown to everybody, and today he says, nice to see you again. So
They
pat
were
on the back
watching.
to all of us. Yeah. You know, you've just got to keep shouting.
Yeah.
And basically he gave us, Joe, bless her, transcribed this whole thing. He gave us a whole big answer that was so heartfelt, that said, I understand where you're coming from. I understand it. But if you look at these conventions and the years and years and years that it took to draft these conventions, to get a consensus, because that convention is agreed to by 151 countries. Now, how on earth in anything in this world in 2022 are you going to get everybody to agree on something? And so a lot of this, they call it the Vienna consensus, a lot of it ends up being hot air. It really does. And we've heard a lot of hot air because this thing's been droning on in the office.
Yeah.
But he says we have to continue to lobby on a country level because it is the countries that are going to make the difference.
Yeah.
What he is very, very worried about is he says that there are some very powerful lobbies that are lobbying for the legalization of all drugs, including very dangerous drugs. Now, we know those lobbies, you know, we know that because we believe that all drugs should be legalized and regulated and taken out of the hands of the criminal gangs. You know, that is the heartache of drug policy. And so he was looking a little bit conservative there, but he said 2 years ago, in December 2020, and for about 18 months before that, they gave cannabis a lot of attention. And so now the CND has to deal with all drugs and trafficking and narco this and wada,
All
you
drugs.
see?
Balls,
So it's all drugs
ibuprofen,
and also
all that.
things like precursors to drugs, you know? and trafficking and wars and all of that sort of thing. So I was very pleased at his answer to us. It was really heartfelt. It was his personal opinion and not the opinion of the C&D chair that this issue needs to be dealt with, and he basically just encouraged us to keep lobbying on a local level. So that was today's thing. And then we had, our question was also answered by the INCB chair, but unfortunately there was a mix-up with the links and we missed it. So I don't have to go into the whole
to find a
thing.
recording of it somewhere.
Yes,
Sure we will.
they said it was also very positive, but not nearly as interesting as this morning's answer to the question. So that was basically what we've been doing all week.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's
been a week.
hectic.
Joe and Amy have been preparing for the Cape Town Expo.
Yeah. Prepping
it's,
our talk. We're going to be hopping on the stage and giving the talk.
Isn't
Well,
that
first
lovely?
time
Taking
ever.
some pressure off of Mertz. We can divide
Yeah.
and conquer as we need to.
Will be great. We got this.
And it's very
And
exciting.
need to
ladies and
make our mind
gentlemen,
up.
I present to you Joe and Amy from Fields of Green for All, and they're going to come and speak some sense into your heads.
Yes. We might make you yell.
Sure
We might
do.
make you yell. We're thinking audience participation is key for this.
Sure, we nearly didn't get to the Cape Town Expo.
No, thank you, Kalula.
Bought
Yeah.
tickets on Kalula. So
Before they were
yeah.
grounded.
we'd given ourselves until Friday, and then we were going to say, okay, what are we going to do? This is 8,000 rands worth of tickets for the crew to go down and represent. Sure.
Non-profit company, remember?
Yeah,
Non-profit
donated
company.
money for the
Tickets,
tickets,
exactly.
you know.
Yeah.
So then early this morning, Amy sent on the group.
No, it was
"Woo!"
Joe.
Was it
Joe
Joe?
was actually I was
It
surprised. It was
doesn't-
very early for you,
It
my
was
friend.
very early for
you
me.
were
That's
honoured.
why you thought it
were
was
honoured.
I got up
So
early to
phew.
work.
We are coming to Cape Town.
We are coming to Cape
It's
Town.
next week already.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, we're really, really looking forward to seeing our Cape Town friends. I know that Jules Harris and Mama Sativa are going to come and help us on the stall. We are also going to
Maybe Etienne as well.
Etienne, our favourite academic from Somerset West, is going to be coming and lending a learned ear there. And just all of our Cape Town friends. We're looking forward to seeing
Great.
you. I believe that there's going to be a social club type vibe. I hope it's not going to be too expensive. I think it was quite
Yeah, it was
expensive
quite
in
expensive.
Joburg. You know, I think
Yeah.
maybe $200 or
I think
something
it was 100 rand
100
every day,
rand.
like
every day.
every day.
You know, so I think.
I think.
Anyway, there's going to be a clubs kind of vibe where we can all go, and you know, we have to be very stoned at these expos.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We have to. Yeah, yeah. So it's our secret weapon to keep going. I'm only going to be there on the Saturday, so I'll see you then. Yeah, it's going to be great. Yeah.
Should we have a look at our CBDNNs? We actually even have some news, some extra news for the.
Some extra news.
for
Yeah,
the
it's all
week.
related.
It is. It is.
What's happening in the news?
So I'm going to be doing the first one, and it's actually written by our dear friend Kenzie from Fart. And I'm going to be reading most of it because I think it's important that we hear exactly what he has to say. It's not the in-depth parts because I don't think I would even understand most of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get into it. It's titled "The High Compliance Elects Later Legislation for the Non-Medical Cannabis
And even today in the plenary, the C&D chair brought up the thing of South Africa. He says, South Africa is the only country in Africa that is really advancing cannabis policy. He even said that. Despite the fact that Lesotho was the first people to export and whoever, but I think South Africa is drawing quite a bit of attention with this cannabis policy thing, so it's good.
Hopefully we get it right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Thanks, Amy. That's We'll feature that in a blog, and you can download it if you'd like to read it. And I'm sure we'll have Kenzie and Michael on the shows in the coming weeks when everything's settled down and they can explain it in layman's terms.
Yeah. Now, the second bit of news that we're going to talk about tonight is more localized laws. We're going to be going back to the conversation that was had on the 8th of March, the Justice and Correctional Services Portfolio Committee meeting on the Zoom one.
The terrible news 1 minute and really good news the next one.
So, as we filter through all the information, there's two new pieces of information that have come out that are going to add a new level of interest, I think, to this bill. The first is that the DTI, the Department of Trade and Industry, has kind of instructed, what's his name, Senior State Advocate Saul Robertson, to bring commercialization into the Cannabis for Private Bill purposes. For private purposes bill, sorry. So he's not that happy about it. He says he's been strong on by the DTI because the clause is in contravention of international legal obligations.
You see, it's not in contravention, and there comes Kenzie's whole big academic paper showing the whole world how cannabis legalization is not in contravention.
Yeah.
So
ACDP MP Steve Swart said that this is a dramatic change to the bill. This clause at this stage changes the whole framework of the bill completely, from purely regulatory to commercial model. At this late stage, I appreciate this coming from DTI, but it indicates that the only broad-based black empowerment or Rastafarians will be able to legalize themselves. Only those segments of the society will be able to apply for licenses, and that is very exclusionary. So it sounds like they're trying to push it for BBEE or BBE or whichever one.
And the thing is that is not how to send the business the way of the people who need it most, and that's the people in the rural areas and the people in the townships. These are the people that we need to uplift.
And these changes are going to require more consultation with various industries and organizations, and they're going to have to make presentations, and it's going to have to go back for public comment after that again. So this is extending how long it's going to take, but it's all right because it steps, I suppose, in a better direction. The next thing was the percentage of THC. We spoke about this a few weeks ago. We're in the belt where we've got the UV, A, B, C's, whatever's, that pushes the THC level up because THC is like a sunscreen on the plant. So they are going to be raising that to 1% instead of 0.2% because they acknowledge that Roberts has admitted that the THC percentage limits were arbitrary and not evidence-based. He said
but not even 1%.
1%, exactly.
Yeah. He said that cannabis could have THC of up to 18% and that he thought 2% level wouldn't create any psychoactive effects. Now,
you've got to smoke a hell of a lot of 2% THC weed. Can you imagine one of those enormous spliffs that they do at festivals? And you need to smoke the whole thing to get a little bit goofed.
Now, what I'm loving about this is they're saying here the lack of evidence-based decision-making clearly made MPs Steve Swart and Werner Horn uncomfortable. Swart said that if the bill was challenged in court, there would have to be evidence.
Exactly.
Backing up this tipping point as to what levels of THC were acceptable in hemp. Committee Chairman Bulelani Gratitude Mahwanashe agreed. He told Robertson that he sympathized with the difficulty of trying to come up with a reasonable definition of what this tipping point might be, but said, if we were asked for the scientific basis for this in court, what are we going to say? So there's a lot of them recognizing that if we are not happy at Fields of Green for All with what they come up with, it's going to court because the evidence needs to be heard. The science needs to be heard in court. Laws need to be evidence-based.
Exactly.
And human rights-based, excuse me. So
and that's what our side event actually was about. It was called Cause and Effect, Making the Case for Evidence-Based Drug Policy. And we just went evidence again, because there is no evidence anywhere in the world, from the plains of Kazakhstan and Afghanistan and wherever the hemp is indigenous to, all the way down to Australia at the bottom. It's there's no evidence of the harms of growing hemp to make socks. I mean, really, we don't want to smoke that hemp.
No.
Give us some credit. We really don't want to. We'd rather go and smoke some millie leaves. Thank you very much. Who do they think we are that we're going to go smoke that? No, all the children are going to run out into the hemp fields and roll spliffs and get goofed and go mad.
No, it would be better than the ADHD medications that some of them are on anyway to begin with.
Definitely.
Anyway.
But that was the first time that Tuesday, and thank you very much to Cannabis Africa. They're so on point,
They really are.
Brett is a brilliant journalist of many years of standing, and he gets it. No other news media has ever got it so right. He doesn't always get it right. Nobody gets it right all the time. But he certainly gets it right when it comes to the policy stuff and the nitty-gritty. Yeah, it was a great article. Go and catch it on Cannabis Africa. It's a great channel you should subscribe to.
You really should. Really should.
Yeah. For anything to do with weed. What do you want to know about weed?
I want to know pretty pictures.
I think we can have some pretty pictures. It's enough talk.
Amy, are you going to choose our winner tonight?
Maybe our guest should choose our winner tonight.
I think our guests should choose our winner.
Tonight.
Okay. So let me explain to the guests, and maybe you are also a first-time viewer of the Hotbox show. So what we do each week is we have a competition for people to post their pictures of weed or weed paraphernalia or anything to do with cannabis on Instagram. And then you hashtag Hotboxshow, and we will pick it up on our feed and on the hashtag, and then between Charles and Boom and Joe, they choose a few finalists, and then whoever is around the table, you decide which one is the winner tonight, and then we send them a Fields of Green for All goodie bag. And today, Charlesie Puffs, who won last week, got her. We thought Charlesie Puffs was a boy, but Charlesie Puffs is a girl, and got her her gift for winning the Instagram. And what did she say, Amy?
Oh, she was just so happy. It was Sister V's book, and she was really, really stoked because she'd been wanting to add it to her collection for a while.
Thank you, Sister V, for sending us a pile of books for us to be able to use as prizes.
Definitely.
People are stoked, babe.
Yeah.
Stoked.
So tonight, our guests, who've been sailing around the world for many years and now very, very grounded yet somewhat high in the Hotbox studio, are going to choose tonight's winners. There we go.
That's a nice grog.
Yeah. I've only got you up there.
Wow, that's
there we have a
beautiful. Wow.
concentrate, a nice
Super dag.
nug.
That's pretty, Scour, we haven't seen him for a while. But
Big ginger. Oh, it's a nice, somebody's nice little home grow
True
there.
friendship is helping. Oh, going so fast.
That's our chronic conservation essay. We do love them. They must be close up for being able to get Amy, you're in charge
I like
of the
that
process,
one.
so
You like that one? Okay.
I vote for that one.
Ollie, what do you reckon?
Yeah, same. That.
Okay, I think the ginger wins the show.
Yay.
Oh, that's
Baked
brilliant.
ginger, congrats.
Congrats. Who is it?
Baked ginger.
ZA. Please get hold of us on thousands of ways you can get hold of us.
Yeah.
The best way is actually to get hold of us on the Fields of Green for All website. There is a contact form there that goes to all of the people, the admin people in the team. You can also always call Charles. You know, we have a 24-hour helpline. We've had a little bit of a break from our Stop the Cops reports. It doesn't mean to say that they're not coming in, but there's just been so much other news, and we've been on a little bit of a policier kind of a role.
Prepping for the Cannabis Expo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Joe's on a bit of a calendar roll now. So what's
Yeah.
happening?
So coming up, like in general, we've got the Cape Town Cannabis Expo at Grand West from the 24th to the 27th of March. It's over 150 exhibitors. The convention, there's a festival, there's a Shroom Expo. You've heard it.
Whoa.
We had one at the last one. It was
It wasn't-
awesome.
It was the Shroom Expo wasn't very well attended
No,
though.
it wasn't.
Yeah, it was a bit of a but
Yeah.
please do. I'm sure from in Cape Town they'll join.
Yeah.
The
I hope
cannabis
they
food
advertise
market.
the speakers better this year as well, because the speakers are always like a little bit of a side thing, and I think it's always interesting.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
interesting. As we mentioned earlier, the private cannabis lounge. Also coming up that weekend is the Cape Town Continental Cannabis Cup. It will put some of the country's finest herbs to trial by fire. Get ready for SA's most VIP event taking place on Saturday, 26th of March in the heart of the month, the city. Go to the highco.co.za for more info on that.
Affiliate
This-
company, the HICO, go support those who support Fields of Green for All.
Yes. Friday the 18th of March, this Friday, tomorrow night, Rhythm Steppers V5 at Mary Jane's Hacienda, bringing back another intimate celebration in the name of drum and bass. There's Mags B2B Cazavillan, Void, Claude's B2B King Tash, CeeLo. Early bird tickets are $60, final phase tickets $80, 100 at the door. Prepare your gun fingers and bass faces, because this one is bound to make you step to the rhythm. I love the way.
I love the way that they write their copy. It really
such
is
die
just
hard.
like
It really is
such
brilliant.
die-hard partiers,
Yeah.
and also at a really reasonable rate. Remember, Mary Jane's Hacienda is 420 friendly.
It is.
They always love to welcome our supporters. We love to go there.
We do.
So
We do. And that's
Yeah.
in Kensington, Joburg. And then Saturday is Dacha Day 2.0. Entry is free, vibes are airy, everyone's welcome. From 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the Bride Den, 330 Albert Road, Woodstock, Cape Town. There's shaded seating, smoking area, music, dab, flower bar, accessories, grow equipment, all the things that you're going to find at a festival. In Joburg, we've got Infused on Bowling. Infused on Bowling is a evolutionary new green session set to stimulate your senses while blowing your mind. It's a fresh and healthy experience offering a full spectrum experience by combining a broad selection of delicious plant-based dishes with the added infusion of your choice, which sounds
Okay.
very interesting. This
saying
is
everything and nothing. Very clever.
10 a.m. to 9
Plant-based
p.m.
infusion of your choice. Love that.
So 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. this Saturday at the Greenside Santon, 36 Bowling Avenue, Wendy Wood.
Stop right there. The Greenside in Santon have, and of course in Greenside, have signed up as affiliates for Fields of Green for All.
Yay.
Thank you. Ryan, Myron, and Steve. We've all been around on the scene for a very long time,
Yeah.
and thank you for supporting Fields of Green for All. We really
Appreciate
appreciate it, and we are coming for that coffee.
Yes.
I know that you've had the coffee on the brew for a few weeks there in Santon, but let's just get the expo over and done with. We'll see you in Cape Town, but then we are coming for your coffee. So pop into the green side. They are worth supporting as they support us.
Yes. A really fun thing that's happening on Saturday in the Pretoria area is the Mlungu Shop Hop. So he's organised a bus. The bus is fully booked. It's a bunch of people from the cannabis industry. Dale and myself will be on there. Mlungu will be on there. 420 Chef will be on there. It's like 22 of us, I think.
Maybe go to one of the venues and meet up with the
Yeah.
crazies
Yeah,
of the
cool.
bus.
A rough idea of where we're going to be, I believe, will be Crossroads Lounge. We'll be stopping off at Smoky G, Magic Dragon, both of them in Centurion and in Linwood. Tiny Town, Hydro Cafe, Hydro Cult, and I know we're definitely stopping in at the Toke House. So if you need to do any 420 shopping on Saturday, go and do it one of those places, and maybe you'll see like a whole busload of like stoners rocking up. I think it's going to be fun. And then on Sunday, not specifically a 420 event, but Optwok has put out the invite for people in Josie to please join the Henops Cleanup Challenge. This is a save the environment kind of thing. They're meeting at the Utrecht Avenue in Centurion from 9 a.m. Wear an Optwok shirt if you have one. Bring gumboots or old shoes, gardening gloves, plastic bags. And Optwok says if he finds you being there all 420 vibes, then you might get a bit of a free gift. So
That's cool.
that's good for the environment.
Yeah.
Taryn's been running this for a couple of years. I think she started winning some awards for it, and she absolutely deserves them.
Yes,
So
it's become really well known, this Henops cleanup, and Taryn is a very special friend of Fields of Green for All, because she was one of the people that really helped us put together South Africa's first clinical cannabis convention. Remember that crazy convention in 2017 when we managed to get 1,000 people, 760 of them were medical professionals, doctors, nurses, dentists, whatever, into a theatre in at Wits, and right in the middle of the trial of the plant. So it was the Saturday in the middle of the trial of the plant. We pulled off because we had all of our expert witnesses here, and we thought we're going to use these buggers for everything that they've cost us. So we're going to put them all on a stage, and we're going to sell tickets to people.
Doctors could earn, what was those points?
Yes, so CPD points. So we even managed to hustle that out of the HSPCA, the health practitioners. We weren't very popular with them, though. They gave it to us grudgingly, but the doctors got their CPD points. And I think that was a historical time for Fields of Green. And Taryn worked very hard for us. So that's why we will always promote her environmental things. And the Henops cleanup thing has really made a huge difference in the Centurion.
Now let's give it some Dachau chutzpah.
Yes.
Powered by Dachau. Let's do it.
Exactly.
Let's join in.
So do we have some poll results? I'm wondering. Let's have a look.
Look-see.
So it was have you watched our side event yet? Okay. Yes, I watched it live. Good, 44%. That's not too bad.
That's great.
Okay. It's on my list
Same
to watch
viewers.
as soon as I can. Yeah, 56%. Okay,
Nice.
it's on your list. I think you'll have a few surprises. It was quite sort of lively. No, I'm not interested in the inner workings of policy making. Oh, thank you, everybody. 0%. Everybody. We always have to strike this balance here on the Hotboxshow with time, and we're now 1 minute past 8 o'clock. I'm very conscious of that. Yeah. And also to just try and keep it a little bit light. I think that with the changing dynamics around the table and different guests, we can try and bring you as much variety as we can.
Sometimes it's light, and sometimes there's been stuff that's happened that you need to know about.
Yeah.
Like
this week.
Like this week.
Yeah.
So we hope you find it interesting nonetheless. So Amy's signing off for us.
No, you're Dacha Farmer.
No, you're not.
I want you to please stay safe and choose happy.
And I want you to light one up for Jules. See you next week.
Bye.